It is being recorded now, more than likely.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sandy, for reminding us to push record. But like I said, that's all. This is all I've done all day. So, Dylan, do you got a spreadsheet up?
Yeah.
Usually we keep this in Google Docs. It's really awkward because I usually only operate on multiple screens, so it's going to kind of be a little different trying to keep it where where you guys can see, but because I can't make it where you can see both screens, I don't think. So it'll be a bit awkward for me, but I'm sure I'll be able to overcome it here. But anyway, so today the way I started was I started in sports and outdoors today and just started from the top 100 and then started leafing out from different products. And that's kind of what I want to do tonight is start in baby. I haven't looked at baby in quite some time, and I think it's a really interesting category. So that's kind of where I want to start. There's people that actually know how to do this and get there really easy. I just try to remember like top 100 items that I think are awesome, and then I'll get there that way with the top 100. So anyway, generally what I do is I just go through here and pick an interesting item, and that's kind of where I just start leafing off of. Now, I know a lot of people use Jungle Scout, and if you guys know how to do that, it just gives you more Amazon. Now, the problem I have with this, I actually don't use the Jungle Scout option. Matt said he prefers to use it, but the reason I don't generally use it is I feel like I get tricked on a lot of products where Amazon is like, seeing this merchant offer gets me pretty excited, and it's just more of a letdown. I like to see the products too. So I guess I'm kind of more old-fashioned.
Yeah, for the people that don't know, so when you go to a page like this, you can open up Jungle Scout, and it shows you a big list of products. And some people source this way to quickly determine what products that Amazon is on or not on, so the process goes a bit quicker, and you can obviously open Jungle Scout on any page. So that one is kind of whether you want to use Jungle Scout to help in your sourcing, because you could open it up on this page or open multiple tabs and look at multiple products at once, and it would quickly tell you who has the buy box. And if it's Amazon, you know to avoid that. But Dan's saying he just likes to actually manually go in and look on each product.
I feel like I do better. Like I said, Matt found 50 products today. I found 56. I don't think that's due to one reason or the other. I just prefer to do it that way. I feel like I get a better grasp of product. Like right here, I get this is one of the trick Amazon offers. I don't know if everybody can see this, and I'm starting to see it a lot more on products. It's products they don't even carry anymore. They're starting to put this up, and what it does is they're trick repricers. So just watch out for those items where it says particularly ships in 3 to 5 weeks and things like that. I actually think those items are pretty safe to get on. Some of them Amazon probably, but some of them probably Amazon will get on. But I think you're safe as many times as you're wrong. And if you just get on a high volume product, I really feel like I can get out of it in no time and make money with it. So, but yeah, so a lot of people do this to find products and have been pretty successful with it. Like I said, Matt does it. I think it's just the best way. The best thing for everyone is if you just find it the way you like to do it, and just go that way. So either way, I think both are fine. This actually looks like a pretty interesting product here. Gosh, Dylan's computer is so awkward layout. This is a product I would definitely put on our pre-contact spreadsheet. I just lost it. I'm used to
just an Excel.
No, I mean, no, I just X'd off the product and killed it. I'm used to using the 2-screen setup. That was it. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that, Dave. I'm sure I'm going to come across products that we carry along the way here. So. This is much more likely to be some kind of restricted or something like that, where it's generally top 100. I mean, Amazon's pretty all over it. So So like 16 or something crazy like that. 12. I'd plug that in. I generally, whenever I do this with Matt, like I'll go ahead and plug this in here so he can get. So we do it live off of Google Docs, which is what we showed in the videos, I think. And that way he gets to see what I'm adding at the same time. Like he started out in a different tree. I think somebody's going on there, Dylan.
And then it tells you on two screens.
Okay, so like I said, he tends to whenever he does it, he tends to use the Jungle Scout method. But we started out on an entirely different leash today, and like Patrick said, I think Google Docs is the only way to go. Plus, where it does save automatically, so that's definitely my method of choice. And probably even if I didn't have employees, what I would probably do, because I've just lost too many documents and things like that to computer crashes and things like that. So, and I'm not terribly efficient at remembering to save and do all the stuff you should do as a responsible human. I'm just not very good at it. So, but right there would probably be one of my starting leafs for a product. And now this is more just personal preference. I tend to avoid these gigantic items. So if you see me like skipping over these items, it's not because I think they're terrible or something like that. It's just I hate dealing with the giant items, so I'll tend to skip over those more often than not. Now, we do carry some oversized items that do pretty well for us. So I mean, it's definitely not impossible to make money with them or anything. It's just more personal preference. I like it, and this is just what I do right here. And if I find something else, I'll actually leaf off of it because I like to get away from the top 100 a little bit when I start. So as soon as I find another interesting product, that's generally where I'm going to jump off onto another set of leaves, so to speak. So, that one looks interesting. Summer Infant's a huge brand. Pampers, obviously, huge brands. I tend to avoid huge brands just because they're so well covered on Amazon, and I think in general, I think they're such a trap to, let's say you look at this Pampers item and Amazon is not carrying it. Does that mean that does it sound am I kind of coming in and out, or do I sound okay to everybody? It might be where I'm kind of moving around here. Dylan's okay. So, but like I said, I tend to avoid those giant items, and I tend to avoid really name brand items because I don't want to find a good product and then just realize that I can't carry it, or I have to compete with Amazon at some point on it. I would just as soon look for better and not spend the time. I mean, I know at the end of the day it's not a ton of time, but it does take away from products that I legitimately might be able to carry. So, Wubbanub, I actually know this one is a very restricted brand. They don't sell to Amazon sellers, but it's definitely something I would look at. But it's going to look awesome, and you just can't carry that one. We've tried. So Amazon dead. This one looks awesome. So this is the kind of product I think looks awesome. It doesn't appear to be like overly private labeled. It doesn't have all the characteristics of a private label product. So this is something I would probably I'll actually probably end up giving our list to Matt tomorrow. 21,000 is a bit outside of our range, so I probably would pass on that. But I'm going to keep it up there because I think it is interesting. I like super low competition items, and like I said, as you get going, I really feel like you can expand out a little bit from our suggested range. Now 21,000 and baby is quite a bit higher than I like. Oh, how did I get all the windows open? I just hold Control and click on the product. So Echo No, this one looks interesting. This one, I would assume this to potentially be a private label product, just because there's only 2 sellers. and they're both Blue Beach. Now this is typical private label. You'll find this out and you'll get used to it, but it's a very nice looking private label product. But if it is, but they will always have their merchant offer and their fulfilled offer, and that's what they're doing whenever they're creating creating a listing. Now, for the most part, like I said, I still copy these items down. I think they're, I would rather be told no than to miss an awesome item. And if this is an actual awesome item, then I don't want to miss it. So, Eco no, so weird operating on one screen. If you guys don't have dual monitors, get them. Jeez, oh Pete, this is crazy. It's like 2,661, I think. But yeah, in instances like that, I don't actually care about putting the exact rank down. Like when Matt sees this, he by the time he looks at this tomorrow, this rank is going to be entirely different than it was today. By this thing may be 2,800 or 2,900. So I don't necessarily care about remembering that it was 2,620. So 2,600 is fine for me. The next item. This one looks really interesting. I'll actually go through that, Cheryl. I'll go through and figure out show you guys how we start looking for it today. So, health and personal care. Now, where I'm in baby, whenever I do this, like I will put that it is a health and personal care item. Perfect. This item's actually perfectly in our range too. Select ultra thin changing pads. Probably should be in baby, but $12.99. Does that mean somebody just popped on, Dylan?
Yeah, just go ahead and hit $2 anytime. He kind of does that. Give you $1 more.
So that one actually looked like a pretty awesome item. Would definitely be interested in contacting that company. And I know that North Shore, they're just they're a big Amazon seller. They're not terribly aggressive, so we've never really had a problem with them. So yeah, this one looks like a good one. I'll probably keep that one up too. Now this is a obviously private label product. So I'm gonna delete this. This is so weird. It's funny because he's got me blocked here with the I can't. The little thing was right over the where I had to click to get it off here. So True Inertia. This is an interesting little item. See how many sellers this is. At 31. Now, with this item, I would just hope I could make money at $31. Oh, wow. But yeah, True Inertia is another pretty good size Amazon seller, and also not terribly aggressive, so not overly scary. And as far as particular price points, yeah, soon those titles will be banned, and that's I actually dread seeing them go because it makes it so much easier to identify the products. But as far as a particular price point, not really. I mean, most of our items tend to be, like I said, I said our ASP is like $32. So most of our items tend to fall there, but not necessarily. I don't really care so much about a particular price point. I will definitely sell items in the I'll sell items below $10 because I have the processing capacity to do it. If you don't have the processing capacity to do it, I would suggest keeping a higher price point. But like I said, I think that's entirely based on, if you don't have time to process your items, you should want Bamboobies. That sounds like an interesting product. Too bad we can't carry it. Carried by Amazon. And like I said, Wub and Ub's going to look awesome here. They always do. Yeah, 1,300, baby. But you just can't carry that product. So back to the 3.5 stars. I don't necessarily care about stars. If I notice that if I'm starting to get an item, like especially at this point, I don't care about. I don't even look at the ratings and things like that. Whenever I'm just looking for opportunities, instead I just concentrate on finding as many opportunities as possible, and from there we're going to weed them out a little bit.
Yeah, make sure to restate the question so the people in the recording know
what
the question was. And in terms of reviews and ratings, like we carry a lot of supplements. You see it in supplements where the reviews are pretty bad. They can be 2-star, 2.5 star, but it still sells like crazy.
So yeah, I mean, as far as the ratings, I don't necessarily, I don't look at it, especially at this point. I would potentially wait out an item if it were an expensive electronic or something like that. I do think it matters a lot at that point. So, I don't want to get stuck with a bunch of returns and stuff like that. But if it's a normal item, I mean, I obviously don't want to shoot for a 2-star product, but in the same token, as far as bad reviews, I mean, we have thousands of feedback and 0 negatives. So, if I get a bad review, I mean, Amazon will chop it off. It's not that's not a problem with the product. That's a product review. You will have higher return rates with the lower things, but I can't. They've said what if they give the product a bad review? I mean, I can't change that. Now, if it's part of an advertising package I'm working on with a manufacturer, like I tell them that I will try to get more reviews for them, and we use a service similar to Feedback 5, then we'll I'll try to solicit and get higher reviews, and I might contact them and see if I can change their mind, so to speak. If I could help them with a problem or direct them to the manufacturer if they have a rep there that they want to dedicate to it. So, that's about the instance and of where I care about reviews. Patrick says, do we have a list of aggressive sellers that we stay away from? No, I mean, honestly, it's just. And the problem with this is everybody defines aggressive differently. Like I mean, it's we don't keep a list of aggressive sellers. I just know certain sellers, like Oxcom. He's one that I just hate being on products with. I also don't necessarily like being on products with Big Fly Sports. They generally drive it down pretty quick. What in the world?
I don't know.
He's got some kind of mark on his screen. I have no idea what it is. But those are the ones some that I stay away from. But everybody defines it differently. So I think it would be what we define as aggressive may not be that may be well beyond aggressive for you guys. So as far as what I define as aggressive is when they're willing to take a product down to actually break even-ish to lose money and hold it there. Like, sometimes they'll drop products because they need to get out of them for a short period of time. But if they continually hold it down, then I just don't. I won't. Those are the ones we try to dodge. What service do we use for reviews? I actually have no idea, Dylan. What do we use?
It came with a particular software package that we bought one time, so it doesn't even have a name, and it's not available to the public anymore. So I would recommend Feedback 5 or one of those.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what we'd recommend is Feedback 5 or Genius.
Feedback Genius is a really good one, so that's another one I would recommend people look at.
So the ones that the one that we use is not a public one. I actually don't even know how we got it, but anyway. So moving right along, like I said, I like to branch off that top 100 and just find the new interesting product. And being that these Honest wipes were interesting, that would probably be the next tree for my search, the next tree for my searches. And I don't tend to put, like, if I put Honest Company down, which I did right here. I'm not going to keep putting SKUs and SKUs and SKUs. Like, if we can get that account, they can see your screen. So apparently it's some kind of what is that?
I don't know. I didn't even see one appear. I don't know if it must have been some sort of marker app in here or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Out there, how to get it away. I don't have much experience with this. We'll just have to leave it until we figure it out.
So I'm not going to tend to. I generally won't keep putting Honest Company products down there, just because I don't think it serves anything. I know that I did break his computer, but I don't think it serves any purpose. Like, if we can get that account, we're going to see all those products anyway. So whenever I was talking about, I found 56 items. I found 56 items from different companies, and Matt found 50 from different companies. He said I can clear the screen from the top menu bar or something. Check this out and see if you can do it. Click more than annotate.
Click more. There's annotate. Clear all drawing. Yeah, you must have drew somehow. All right.
So somehow I drew. To find 56, that one took me probably 4.5 hours today. Is probably what I worked on it. So to find 56 items, and I tend to. You guys probably notice I'm pretty picky with my items. Like, I don't. I'm not putting on like the bigger brands, the giant brands. I don't put any of the same companies on. Yeah, it was 56 different companies, Kathy. So, and Matt found 50 different companies, entirely different than my 56. So that's like a pretty typical day for him. And Dave asked, why can't we carry Wubbanub? They are very strict with not selling to Amazon sellers. We've tried to get an account. They actually carry a pretty wide selection of good products, and we were going to at one point open a store for similar brands for them and similar brands, and we talked to them about, hey, we'll open a store, we'll carry these products in a store. Can we sell it on Amazon as well? And they said no, we don't allow Amazon sellers. So they really aggressively pursue Amazon sellers, and it's just not something I want to get into whenever to get into. I don't want to litigate over a single item. There's just too many items out here to be focused on that one. And that's what I'm trying to put, in the forums. I try to tell you guys, like, I don't necessarily focus on, gosh, this company is huge. But we don't focus on the one item we can't get. We try to focus on all the possible items that we could get. So that's one thing is, that's how you remain positive, I think. Goodness gracious. So this one looks interesting. Somebody had asked about this company too, diapers.com. Do we consider them, they are an Amazon company. They're owned by Amazon. I will definitely try to compete against them. Now, this item, it actually looks kind of weird here. That everybody, you see all these guys that are locked up at $32.99 fulfilled. So I would be a bit concerned about this. I would probably still check it out, though. Like I said, I'm fine being told no, and I'm also fine getting the account and not being able. A lot of people talk about, if you get an account and you don't make money on it, what do you do? It's like we have piles of these, and from time to time, whenever we're not finding a lot of products in one day or something like that, we'll just run back through that list and see if any of these products have gotten better. So with this item particularly, I would assume, it says list price is $19.99. This product looks potentially awesome. I have no idea. I don't know why these guys are up here. So, I don't question how people price their products. $4,800 maybe. It's not terribly exciting, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's an example of a product that the pricing is weird. You have a potential Amazon-owned company seller, but it's worth investigating. It's worth contacting them and figuring out what kind of price you can get, or what's going on with
Yeah, I mean,
the pricing and see how it got to that point.
What was their price? Like 15 plus 9 or something like that. So, oops, killed it. The low pricing was $32, but I would actually, where there was such a discrepancy, I tend to not put $32 here. I would instead put the merchant fulfilled number, just so I would know that I'm probably going to have to go down and at least get fairly close to that. So I would probably put 27 MF. So whenever Matt's looking at that and he gets the price list back, he's going to know in general that he's probably going to have to be around $29.99 to get the buy box. So, from there, we're going to be thinking about $29.99 as our price. So that's why I would just generally put I would put the merchant fulfilled price here and make sure to denote it as merchant fulfilled. So, like I said, I think that one's a pretty solid little item. Bamboo Natural is a huge brand. I mean, I'll look at it anyway, but I probably wouldn't mess with them no matter what. Interesting. Boom. I'm pretty sure this one's just always carried by Amazon. Mother Love, that one's carried by the manufacturer. I'll go ahead and show you. We've actually carried that item before. So, all right. Don't know why that item's taking so long. All right, Bamboo Natural. Now, I'm pretty sure that the way to make money with these is to do the multi-counts. Like, I'm pretty sure this is probably Amazon. Yeah. So, if you ever got on an item like this, I won't even put it on my list, honestly, because I know that there's no margin and it's a big company. But if you can find these items and potentially make money with them, it's just not somewhere where we've had to go yet to doing just buying items for just multi-packs. But it is definitely a possibility. So if you get to that point and you're running out of items, look at these kinds of opportunities, because this I'm pretty sure this thing has a great rank. Yeah.
And there's a alternative opportunity, one that definitely requires you to develop some sort of skills and experience with first. But there are certain products that you can find and sell on Amazon that you don't sell as a multi-pack, but it's very effective when it's purchased in multiples. So what I mean by that is it's a product that you can sell that basically has very little profit or is unprofitable. But it's a product that is typically bought in multiples. So when someone puts it into their cart, they put it into it with a quantity of 2, 3, or 4, and you actually make money by saving money on the shipping for the product. And that's a kind of a corner case scenario, but it's something that can come up, and a product can be secretly profitable that way. And it's usually on low cost products that happens.
Kathy asks, aren't multi-packs for diapers getting too big? I don't know if you mean for too many people selling it or oversized. It's definitely oversized. So that's I try to, like I said it earlier, I try to avoid oversized items unless they're super expensive. But where that one was $15.99, then with the oversized fees, there's just not very much margin in there. So I'm going to avoid that. Good heavens, that's a big sales rank. Get rid of that guy. Kind LLC sells this product. I probably wouldn't put this down where it's carried by the manufacturer. So, also carried by Amazon. And we're having this weird problem where last time I wrecked it. Mother Love Company. They are, if you look here, they're $9.95 on this item. Next offer's at $19.99. They essentially stopped selling to Amazon sellers. We used to carry this line, and we were one of the first people on the line, actually, or close to it. I think there definitely wasn't very many offers, and we got the sales ranked really good on pretty much their whole line, and that's whenever they decided they were going to sell on Amazon. So, Mother Love, just avoid them. Dapple. Now, this guy, I know that this guy is extremely aggressive. Oxcom, I mentioned him earlier. He tends to always be the lowest price. If you look, $17.89. Preferred Mart's also pretty aggressive. If that's a little bit outside of our range too. But with this item, I mean, he tends to carry awesome items. So if it has a bunch of products, then I might put a Dapple product on the list if he's not carrying them all. Where Oxcom's on them, I mean, I just know that I don't really want to be there. Both items we looked at, he was carrying and in the lead, obviously. Here's another Amazon item, and there's our Wubbanub guy. So anyway, back to finding more products. Do we use Evaluate to assess SKUs? We do use Evaluate sometimes. It's more or less whenever we get like somebody who gives us a lot of SKUs or something like that, we'll run it through the Evaluate system. But as far as on a general basis, no. Why don't we look at leaves of leaf? We do. That's how we actually got here, was looking at a leaf of a leaf. Like I said, I started in the top 100 items, and then I try to bail off that top 100 as soon as possible by finding another interesting product. So, yeah, I mean, this is a leaf of a leaf. This just happens to be where we're at right now. Like I said, I tend to go through a lot of items in a day. $640 is probably a little cheaper than I would want to. No, I mean, as far as a different product to evaluate SKUs rather than evaluate, not that we found, we tend to just not get a lot of where that comes up. I mean, that comes up so few of our manufacturers. Like I said, I want to buy, this honest product from the honest company. So, like, I'm limited to the amount of items that they carry, and it's generally not, a ton. So you're scrolling through that.
Yeah, Evaluate is more effective when you're dealing with true wholesalers who have large inventories worth of product.
This item looks pretty interesting. I imagine, if I were guessing, I would imagine this probably is mapped around $69. And you got the one guy down there. There's a lot of sellers too.
Yep, it looks definitely like a mapped product.
So there was 11 offers. Let's see what this thing's rank is. I would probably put this on the list and do the math to see if it actually hit our criteria or really close to it later. Where it's got 11 offers, I have a feeling that this thing is mapped at $69, and this guy is just down here breaking it. And if I was picking up the account, I would definitely talk to the manufacturer about, if they were aware of this guy. Have we ever broke map? Yes, but not. We don't do it. Like, I'll contact the manufacturer and tell them, hey, like, are you going to enforce this? And if they say no, we're not, it's just not something we're going to do, then I may break map and just get off the product in there. But I don't break map with the intention of carrying the product. So if I break map, it's because they've forced me to by not at least trying. I understand that it's hard. Like, we have one right now that some guy started breaking map about 3.5 months ago, and it's a consumable too, which is annoying. But then a bunch of people jumped down and joined him, and we contacted the manufacturer, and they're like, yeah, man, we're working on it. Every single one of these sellers we've identified, we're not going to sell to them, so when they run out, they're out. And there just happen to be quite a few sellers that had come onto the product. So, and they're limiting their Amazon sellers, so we've actually not broken map on that product. So we try not to break map. I mean, that's our goal. And like I said, the only time I'm willing to break map generally is when I'm no longer interested in the product. If I sign an agreement, I'll try to adhere to it. The problem with this, I mean, I would probably put this on the list, but the problem is that, it's just like any other $6 item. I mean, it's not even if it were 90 cents, it wouldn't be terribly exciting. But it's got the sales rank, so I would probably put it on the list. I don't even remember what this item was. I got to talking. Oh, it was the Naturepedic. That's it.
Yeah, the $69 price, like a mapped price, and then you have to consider there was only one person breaking the 69 price that we assume was a map, and that could be a retail arbitrage or online arbitrage seller or something. So it's not, you don't have to worry at all times about one particular person breaking what looks to be a map like that.
Jaya asks, how would you make any profit on a $6 item? I have no idea what they sell it for. In general, like I said, if this product were 90 cents and I cleared $1.50, that's not terribly exciting. I would put it on the list though, just because. I mean, I just add any item I see like that. Maybe that company carries better items, and that item was ranked 180. So, maybe they'll carry another item. But yeah, as far as what on that particular item,
90 cents to bring back $1 is pretty good.
Well, I mean, the problem is you eat up in actual processing fees.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would put it on there just for the sake of putting it on there. POPO. But I've said this a couple times. I wouldn't suggest, if you don't have the processing power to process and actually make money off of that dollar, make that dollar, I would suggest just not carrying that item. It's not you're not doing something wrong by not putting it on your list. I mean, you honestly have to have the processing power to be able to be able to handle items like that. And that was another. I got this weird. The one thing that shows the meeting thing is right in the middle of my screen. It keeps blocking me from deleting items. But back to this California baby, I would add. Medline is they're a huge company, huge manufacturing company. So I probably, that one, they're more like a manufacturer. I know their margins are pretty small, so I would add them. But just knowing, certain lines like this, they're just going to have tiny margins, no matter what. But for the sake of completeness, I would definitely put it on here, especially if I were just now starting this to source products in this manner. Like I said, I don't mind being told no. I also don't mind seeing the product. I feel like I learn more by checking that product out than not checking it. So, it doesn't have to start super fast for you to be successful. In fact, the more knowledge you build up, I think the better overall you're going to be at this. So, anytime you're not sure if it's a private label item or something like that, I would suggest putting it down, going through the process, and checking it out. Jaya asks, have I contacted any grocery distributors? We do have, I'm pretty sure we have every grocery distributor in the U.S. or close to it. Select, KeHE. There's a couple more. Their margins are all terrible. So it's just like the same as ordering from Europa or Lone Star or somebody like that. It's you just don't make very much money, so we tend to avoid items like that. I know Amazon carries that item, so I probably wouldn't put it on there. But California baby, I'm pretty sure this one's a relative. I think I've tried to get this account before. I'm not necessarily sure. But if I have it, I'm pretty sure it's a tough cookie to crack. But I would still put it on there. We also keep it in our emails so we can search to make sure that we're not just infinitely contacting some company over and over and over. But I'm pretty sure I've contacted this one before. But like I said, if there's any question, I put it down on the list. I would rather waste a little time on that end than to miss an opportunity. So that's 2,200-ish. Price was $24.52. This one was $6.40. But So yeah, like I said, just take your time, make sure that there's another one, Oxcom's on. If you look, like I said, he's always in the lead. He's a really prime example of what I call an aggressive repricer. And if you see him on an item, he's pretty, he's definitely a rough customer to deal with. So, and it's not necessarily that he's so much cheaper. Like, he's 5 cents cheaper here. That's not a bunch, but what happens when somebody comes down to match him, he drops obviously another 5 cents. And before long, the product is down to $16 or $17. So he's just one I tend to avoid. And like I said, Medline is a pretty major player anyway. Noodle and Boo. My guess is this is mapped at $18. This one looks really interesting. Is mapped at $18, and there's just the $17.99 bozos there. I don't know why people do that. Map, they'll drop a penny below map. Doesn't really. I'm pretty sure it doesn't necessarily increase their buy box percentage by anything significant. They're just risking breaking the rules for to try to maybe get a percentage of a point ahead. Yeah, Gene, Quidsi is a retail company, but they don't play by the same rules as Amazon. They actually can share the buy box. So, I treat Quidsi just like I treat. They're actually a gentle giant. I mean, they're generally not aggressive at all. It's just part of their repricing software in terms of how they price their items. So I don't necessarily I don't avoid them at all. Noodle and Boo. I keep forgetting their name. They were $4,500 in beauty and $17.99. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this one is map broken too by a penny. And if I were to pick up this item, I would not even mention that. If they said they were mapped at $18 and somebody was breaking it by a penny, like I'm not going to say, "Hey guys, somebody's breaking your map by a penny." It's just, I don't want to appear to come across as that guy. Like, if they're breaking it by something significant, then I would definitely mention it. So, hopefully they just police this and just realize that, these guys don't need to be carrying their product at some point. Amazon. So, like I said, anything Amazon carries, we try to not. Now, this is obviously some kind of private label here. Patrick says, is there a category on Amazon that is easier to do wholesale in or harder? I've not particularly ever found one. Eric, do you think there's any categories that are harder?
No.
Maybe shoes and clothing because they're such mass market.
We just not got into them, so it's like we can't really speak too well onto them.
If you're, as long as you're not saying like DVDs, obviously that's
right.
Impossible.
Those categories are in books. I probably wouldn't expect to do extremely well in books doing wholesale. Jaya asks Jungle Scouts. Like I said, I tend to not use it. Matt uses it for scouting. So for me, I use it more as a whenever I'm going back over my list to look at my sales ranks to see where I'm at and how many I can expect to sell per day. And like I said, with my range, I'm pretty flexible. I've drawn another picture, Dylan.
Same thing. Clear annotation, annotate. Nope, left a little bit. Annotate, clear.
So Matt uses it now. Now Matt, he uses it for sourcing. Like when he comes to a main page, like this top 100 page, what Matt does here is he does the Jungle Scout trick of it like this. So like I said, I tend to not use it. I like to look at the products a little more, a little, and just kind of I feel like I get a better feel for it. I don't know. I think it's more of a personal preference. But with Scooter Bug here, this is pretty clearly a private label item. Planet Wise, carried by Amazon. Dead, Amazon, Dead. Back to one of our originals. For some reason, I've liked these two items the whole time. So, and it looks like we've ran out on this item. OXO is another huge, pretty huge brand. So I probably wouldn't put them on my list. Let's It's clothing. So Amazon, that's that same kind thing. Honestly, I'm just not sure I know enough about clothing to make a good decision here. And that one looks pretty decent. So I know you can't copy the ASINs per usual. I have to bring that one back up. See if I can copy the parent. Denise asks, "How can I explain how I'm deciding what to click next?" I click everything that I think would possibly be good. So there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just
you can click everything.
Right. Like originally when I first started doing this, I was clicking every single tab and looking at every single item. Some items I've just learned over the course of doing this that
yeah, he's just developed experience and the ability to do that, or to just have an intuition basically on looking at products and saying no or yes. I mean, probably most people should just click them all.
Ultimately, that's what I would suggest starting out is clicking them all. I do not click sponsored products. Sponsored products are generally almost always private label products. So as far as Sandy, you said intuition's over your head at this stage. It very well should. It should be over your head. You've not been doing this for almost a full year at this point. So, and it's not like I just do this one day a week. I do this every single day for basically the past year. So
yeah,
it's not. I can just tell you certain brands are carried by Amazon. Certain brands aren't. Like that's just. This was one of our items from earlier. I really like this item.
And here's a tip from that page we were just looking at. Pampers. He's skipping Pampers because we're probably not going to be able to carry Pampers profitably if we could carry it at all.
Yeah, Abby. She says private label will a lot of the times have the name and the title. That's definitely true. And the really long titles. That's just another giveaway, and you can avoid those. So back to this. As far as what I'm sourcing here, it's Pampers. The reason I'm not is because they're a giant brand. Babies R Us, obviously made for Toys R Us. Not even sure I can sell that product. I know I can sell it as buying at retail, but I'm not sure that they go outside of their distribution chain. So Phillips, that's another huge company. So Dynarex, that one looks fairly interesting. So I would get Dynarex. Munchkin, same thing. Medela, same thing. All these are huge. North Shore. Is this North Shore Supply? Ooh. This is interesting. I've never seen them private label on items, so this one's pretty interesting. It's outside of our range anyway, so back to regular scheduled programming. But Sassy, it's 200 count. Like I probably wouldn't have clicked on this other item otherwise, but it's 675, 200 count. It looks like it just doesn't seem like there's probably very much money in there. Plus Amazon on the item, like I'm just never interested right there. Halo sleep sacks huge. We saw that they were carried by Amazon earlier. Range rules. I generally like to sell 90 of a product a month. So in baby, I think that's around 8,000. About where that cuts off. So that as far as my range, that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying that's outside of our range. And health and personal care, that's the one I source the most. I know it's around 18 to 20,000. That sells 90 times per month, and that's the range of how many sales there are before I start splitting them. So if there's 6 sellers on a 90 sales per month, you're looking at 15, getting 15 sales per month, which is well below where I want to be anyway. So that's when I'm talking about my range. That's where I'm at. How many products are on Amazon? How can there product be? John asked, how can there be any products left to find? I found 50. Like I said, we found 106 today, but and they change so often. That's the other thing is, like I said, getting that email where you don't make very much money is not always a bad thing. Just you got approved for that account. Just go back and check it. People liquidate their items, and supply. Deb said it right there. Supply is pretty endless. I mean, there's new products coming into the marketplace every single day. And just because I carry an item doesn't mean that it's not good for you and vice versa. So like realistically, I'm looking for items at some point that you find too. And trying to get on those items if they're good for us.
Yeah, and every year Amazon grows by $20 billion, $15 billion. So every year there's $15 or $20 billion more sales to go around, ever so increasing. There's always new stuff coming.
No, Jay asked, am I aiming for 50% ROI in that range? No. I'm pretty sure to initially qualify, I need about a 22% ROI, 22 to 24%. And then I'll try to get discounts from there and drive it up. But if I'm getting 22 to 24%, I'm expecting 90 plus sales per month. So, and it goes up from there. Like I'm not targeting 22%. I'm just saying that's about the minimum I'll accept. But I don't have anything. I don't come in saying I'm aiming for 50% or 30% or whatever. It's just I get my price list. I analyze the product from there. And if I'm making 50%, that's fantastic. If I'm making less than that, I'll try to figure out how I can make more. 22% ROI specifically, and that doesn't hold true. That's not necessarily a true figure for cheaper items. Like obviously the cheaper items, I'm looking for a much larger ROI. Look for so yeah, it just depends from that's very. When you're talking ROI and margin, I think it's very price dependent on whether that's a good or a bad item. I just don't like to I don't like to classify items as broad. I guess I like to if the item looks good and 22% is making me 15% margin ish, then I'm willing to give it a start and try to work my margin up. Then when I contact a company, do I mention a specific product? Yes, if possible. I try to make it as personal as possible. That way they know I have interest in their company. So whenever we send that email, it's going to be we use the same templates that I've shown you guys. I try to plug in as much information. Just hit that mute button. Connie asked, do we do bundles or look at best-selling products as potentials for bundle? We don't we don't bundle very often. We do multi-packs. But as far as bundling, I mean, I would rather find more items that I can sell hundreds times a month. Like my game is to try to find products that going through and creating a bundle is a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of launch that you have to do a lot of things to get that product to start selling, and it's just I would rather find more I would just rather find more products that I can sell with a big volume. So back to this. Similac, the reason I'm not clicking Similac here is that obviously a gigantic brand. The disposable baby bibs I would probably click because I don't know anything about that. Lamaze Cotton. Cushies. Dr. Brown's, that's another huge brand. So like I said, in North Shore, we've already established that North Shore, this is now that I understand that this is a private label product, I would just stop clicking every time I see North Shore. So I just never seen them that they had actually ever private labeled a product. We see them on a lot of items. So interesting and good for them. I hope they're doing super well with it. Mommy's Bliss. OXO. Somebody said they're restricted. I just know they're a huge brand, so good to know that they're restricted now. I'll never be clicking on that item. These are always super interesting. Like this particular item right here. Whenever I see this and it doesn't have a price on it, I always wonder what's going on here. Probably wouldn't add that to my list. Now, you see that the reason I wouldn't add this one to my list, a lot of people say, what if they want to sell it to, and it's sell it to somebody else or have them do the work. And I think absolutely, if time's not a constraint, then I would definitely contact these companies early. But when I see the manufacturer only selling that product, like I'm not interested in necessarily just contacting them. We've done it a couple times to pretty good success though. So I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just feel like I waste more time doing it. We have 2 items that we carry with the manufacturer right now that do very well for us, and I think they've let 4 sellers on and capped it off. So you definitely can. I mean, I don't know what you mean by product liability, Mark, on this particular item. I mean, we have insurance, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But back to this, we had already got this brand. Is it possible? I'm actually curious on this one to see if Amazon does carry it and see if nope. I think it's actually the same one I have on my list, awkwardly enough. But Carlson Labs, Neat Solutions, God, $3.99. Geez, OP. I wouldn't even add that to my list. I wasn't even paying attention to the price at that time. I was trying to read Mark's question. I understand that. With the tiny bits of stuff going into babies' mouths, how you wouldn't want to carry that item. Like I said, that's a personal thing. We have, if you don't have product liability insurance and all that fun stuff, I would probably invest in it yesterday. So just make sure to go get some insurance. Same thing. I'm used to just scrolling through these items and clicking on the ones I like. But somebody had mentioned, when I'm passing these items up, why? Same reason. Pampers, huge brand. Nature's Way, $5.78. I'm pretty sure it's a giant brand. Medela, huge brand. Milk Makers oatmeal cookies. These look awesome. $26.99 on a bag of cookies. That sounds like a potentially pretty good little item. And I like to obviously eat cookies if you've seen me. So, water wipes, Lamaze. This is a book. We've actually carried Lamaze books before, but we bought. I think we bought them at a retail store or something on the clearance. So, back to. I swear I've clicked one of these already, and Amazon carried it. Scooter Bug, if you remember, the reason I don't click on this is that was an item, a private label item we saw earlier. Rita asks, if you find a new product in the catalogs company, are you interested in? Generally, we won't. We've actually found, one of our most awesome vendors when they release products, we just get them to create the listing on Amazon. About how long can I go before I run out of steam? I do this for hours on end, buddy. I don't like the fact that this guy's $2 ahead of Quidsy. I probably wouldn't put this item on my list just because we're so far ahead of Quidsy, and I know that they're, I know that they're big enough to get those discounts. So it's probably, this retail price of $17.99 is probably legit. So I probably wouldn't waste the time and putting this one down. Power Ford Ventures. Looks like this guy is an absolute monster. Who is this? Doesn't have very many feedback, but he was beating the world on everything he carried. Strange. $18 carry by Amazon ships. With this one, like I said, I've started seeing Amazon do this where it says in stock in 2 to 4 weeks. So I would probably click on the brand name to see if Amazon carries it a little more. Patrick asked, do we regularly make our payments with profit from your net 30 to 14? We turn. You're asking how fast we turn product. We stock product for 30 days. So we've, as far as making our payment, I don't know what you mean. We've never missed a credit card payment. We've never paid any interest. So we don't, as far as, we carry things we try to stock to 30 days, and it may vary by a touch here and there, but for the most part, we've gotten pretty good at kind of projecting out where we want to be in terms of what we want to. Everything we expect to sell everything in 30 days, and we've gotten pretty good at kind of predicting that. But the reason, like I said, I'm clicking here is to see if Amazon. This is a fake Amazon offer where they're in stock in 2 to 4 weeks. I just want to see if Amazon actually carries this brand. So I'm just going to click on anything to see. Is it the same? Gosh, I'm terrible. Yeah, I'm talking and I'm just messing up here. But anyway, but yeah, that's why I'm clicking here. It's not to leaf off from this into this one brand. It's actually just to see if Amazon generally carries these items. Still not convinced. In stock, sold by Amazon. All right. I probably wouldn't mess with that original item then. That's about all convincing it takes, is to see if Amazon's floating around the brand. That's a great idea. I've never done that, Dave. As far as clicking on the manufacturer page and then doing a Jungle Scout search to see what percentage they carry. It's not 100% accurate, but that is definitely an awesome idea. So something I would definitely be willing to incorporate and try out. This one looks interesting. Don't really know any of these guys, which is usually a good thing. They look reasonably friendly. So with this item, I would be willing to examine a little further. And like I said, anytime I'm willing to examine further, then that just means that I'm adding them to, I'm 100% adding them to my list here. This guy was kind of ahead of the pack here. I think $28 or something like that. $28.95. So yeah, I would definitely give that item a look. It looks pretty. That one actually looks pretty spicy. Oh, 66 items now. Yep. But I guess this is probably where I'm kind of a sick human. When I go home, I'm sure I'll be after my daughter goes to bed. I'm sure I'll be doing this again. So I'm sure I'll end up 80-ish items. Yep, Amazon. Golly, this item looked bonkers. Yeah, this one looks spicy. Milk makers. Patrick asks, do we mostly contact by email or phone? Both. We send emails more than we should, I think, based on the acceptance rates on the phone. But it's easier whenever we get a list of 70 or 80 items. But we still try to contact. Basically, if it looks like a really, really awesome opportunity, it's something where I want to try first on the phone and go from there. But with the standard opportunity, I'm willing to send the email, and then if we get the potential rejection letter, then go ahead and start calling. Yeah, I probably should have. I probably would have if I wasn't talking, Abby. To be quite honest with you, Smoke Maker's a new leaf tree. So I'll probably search that one up. Empire Depot is usually pretty aggressive. Did you say Amazon here? That one says in stock. Avoid like the plague. Dynarex. Don't know if I trust this one. Yeah, Amazon. Where it says Amazon in stock. Usually with this kind of thing, where somebody's beating Amazon's brains in, like I definitely won't mess around with it right there too much. Is Skype professional or tacky? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I know with Chinese vendors, they tend to use we private label a couple products, and those are Skype style product or conversations. So I have no idea. I've never asked a manufacturer if they use Skype. Probably wouldn't be that tacky. I couldn't imagine. Skype's pretty awesome. Yep, probably get off that one. So all right, back to and like I said, I'm not going to sit here and click every milk makers. Like I know they're on my list now, so I know if I get them, then that'll be a product I'll be carrying. So like I don't need to add them, 50 times if that's how many products. Back to we clicked this one earlier. So, Nature's Way again, big brand. Upspring, I would click those guys. I have a feeling that's probably a private label product. Medela, huge brand. Mother Love, I already told you my story about them. Milk and Cookies. I don't know what the kind of expiration dates these things have. I can't imagine anybody would. Honestly, if I was, with some of the, you talk about, would you contact manufacturers? I've always wondered if you should probably contact manufacturers who don't sell FBA and try to get them to let you FBA their products. And so on these kinds of items, I would definitely think about something like that, just to see if maybe I could FBA their item, tell them I could increase their sales through the channel and all the fun stuff, because every time you list the FBA item, especially if I come down to $21.99. So I would definitely consider contacting this company. Why do I stay away from big brands? Because they're so well Amazon covered. Like, here we can give you an example. Let's look at the, we'll wait for that one to come up. I have no idea what's taking it so long. But Upspring Baby, where they're fulfilled, like I said, I don't necessarily put them on the list. As I suspected, a private label item. Solgar. I've never heard of this stuff. Appears to be probably, if I were guessing, it's probably mapped around $19.99 or $11.99 rather. It's mapped at $19.99. They're in trouble. Looks like 10-ish sellers. I would probably definitely contact this company, especially assuming their product might be mapped at $11.99, and just go from there. But the problem is if it's mapped $11.99 and they're selling for Solgar is a long-time food brand. Never heard of them. Eric obviously has. Does anybody know what a lactation cookie is? I mean, if I was having lactation issues, that would be the way I would want to solve it. I've never heard of a lactation cookie. This sounds like the best invention in the whole world to me. On this particular company, like this is another example of I would potentially contact this company because they obviously have no clue what they're doing in terms of selling their own products on Amazon. Barry says, hope that these milk cookies don't violate the FDA ruling on health claims. Yeah, I have no I've never looked that up actually. And it's funny, before we actually contact companies with health and personal care, we always look and see if there's any FDA issues with the product. I'd never thought about doing it we don't source a lot of groceries. So it's never been something that's really popped up for us. So it's something I might start checking. Eric says he thinks the cookies might be for sexual wellness. Not sure how, but to each their own. Like I said, I hope those companies are doing well with their cookies. I don't know exactly how I can use them, but I like cookies. Oh, back to so this was my. I was going to show you why I don't look at the giant brands. Like if you look at Pampers here, somebody suggested this earlier, so we'll go ahead and use that. Oh, why did I? Yeah, I got off on the tangent. I'm sorry, Sandy. Yeah, they don't know what they're doing whenever they list their items, and it shows one new offer, and they don't even have the buy box on their own page. So that's if you have your own product and you don't have your own buy box, you're probably not very good. And that's an opportunity where I feel like I might be able to sell myself, and tell them, hey, I promise you, I can increase your sales. I can at least make you have a buy box, so where people can actually buy your item. So if you look at this right here with the Pampers thing, look at the percentage of Amazon carries these items, and I'm guessing that almost all these merch are multi-packs. So that's why I avoided. I mean, I have no reason to. I don't care if I'm selling Pampers or Wampers. Like as long as Wampers sell, I'm fine making money from no-name products. I don't need to compete with the guys who are buying Pampers. So anyway, back to this nipple shield. That's an interesting device. That could be a new private label brand, Wampers. You might still get sued by Pampers if it were a diaper. So I'd probably avoid that one. But yeah, definitely sued. But back to Pampers Gaia Herbs. That one looks interesting. Goat's Rue. Yeah, you could just that's a great idea for a bundle. You could do Pampers and lactating cookies. So that is the next big bundle. Mommy's Bliss, I've already clicked on them. Like I said, Mother Love, Solgar, we already got on our list. Water wipes. I'm not sure why it's not coming up there. Personal Fit Shields. All right, so we'll go through a couple more items here. Modern Mama. Nipple shield carrying case. Well, that is a heck of an invention. Unfortunately, Modern Mama carries her own product. She seems to be doing it rather well, so we're not going to mess with her. this product's probably too cheap. Probably, it's the same as it ever was with the cheap products. I do love the sales rank though. So let's check it out. Let's check this one out a little more and see what's going on here. I would put this on the list. I mean, anything, I would have put it on the list. That went into the abyss. But yeah, you should have put May Mom there on your list. Pregnancy store. All right. You got my pregnancy store. My only concern with this item would be that pregnancy store is actually the manufacturers, but I would still definitely put this one on my list. Called Milky's. Like I said, we sold the one product. I think it's spelled funny or something. Sorry about that. But we sold Mother Love, and they had a similar item to this, and it did incredibly well. So $28.95. I'll put it on my list. I don't remember what the sales rank was. 3,700. Sold by Amazon. Obviously private labeled. That same brand gets me every time. Sold by Amazon. Sold by Amazon. Nutrigold, sold by Amazon. This one's interesting. Oh, never mind. Made by Medela, personal fit. So probably wouldn't really mess around there too much. There's another example of a Amazon fake offer. So almost 3,700. So we will go with the first year's, run the Jungle Scout trick to see how it works. Somebody asked, why does Amazon create fake offers to trick? They do it a lot to trick repricers. I think. I mean, I honestly have no idea.
Keep the prices low.
But if I have my repricer set to match, and Amazon puts a fake offer in there, I'm going to come down and match, and it keeps the prices low for their customers. So it looks like first year's is a pretty. Does anybody know what this means? Exclusively for Prime members? Does that mean that if you're not a Prime member, you couldn't buy that product? I've seen that before. I just have no idea what it means. And where everybody in my office is all, and family are all Prime members. Wow, that's weird. Did not know that.
I'd say it's probably a lower price than it's exclusively for Prime.
So you think about it wasn't on Prime, but it would show up at a higher price?
Copy the link, open a new incognito window. See what it says.
Eric said that he's heard that they're getting ready for Prime Day on July 15th. Yeah. So Dela, skip. We saw Gaia Herbs was carried by Amazon, so skip. What is the best thing to buy on Prime Day? I have no idea. Yeah, no, not a clue. But I imagine that. No, Eric hit it. He said Prime Rib. That's a fantastic idea. The best. Jeez, I'm hungry now, man. Wrecking me. So Lactamed, made by Lactamed, avoid. All right, so what do we do when we get to the end of a trail here? We would look for another item. Go back to, like I said, definitely more awesome ways to do this than the way I do it. It's just not. It's one of those things. If you do something just a bazillion times, you get used to doing it, and it's just how I, this is my routine, so to speak. So, and I'm very hard to get out of a routine. Does anybody live in a city? I'm not sure. I wish I knew that, if there's a smarter and easier way. But I probably still couldn't do it. I'm still too ingrained into my little way here. So somebody does have the Amazon Prime Grocery. How does that work? That sounds awesome to me. These are all possible. If you want to know what I'm doing here, these are all possible trees for me. Like I said, we're looking for just anything to get started with a new set of leaves. But yeah, these are just potentially new leaves. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The Amazon Fresh Berry. Any update on the Vegas meetup? I was going to talk to Eric about it. He actually had to leave a few hours ago, and he just got back in a little while ago. He was at I'm sure a very competitive softball game. Did you guys win? I did win. So anyway, so yeah, when I was looking for items earlier, I'm just looking for more products to leaf off of. Pam asks, what exactly catches my eye when I'm scrolling through and looking at the leaves? Honestly, if it's just a product I've never like, if it's a brand that I know Amazon, if I know Amazon carries it, the brand, that's something I'm going to avoid. Outside of that, I click on maybe too much stuff. Like somebody pointed out, I clicked on a $6.40 item. That's that is what it is. So it's not something I'm going to sit there and just basically if it's not a brand I'm familiar with, I'm obviously clicking on at that point pretty much anything. So Snoogle, we'll see how this looks. And then our post, after this one looks interesting. But after this, once we get our list made, then before we contact these companies, we're going to go through and do the other analysis points of going through and figuring out what is my approximate sales volume and things like that. And that's going to help us at several levels. It's going to help us weed out products that just don't fit. I don't like to slow down a lot whenever I'm doing this right here. I would rather just find more opportunities and weed them out all at one time, and then just have a clean list of I'm going to contact all of these companies. So, yeah, I would definitely put this one on my list. Snoogle. That sounds like an awesome brand.
And that's just a tip. People are asking about when to click on an item or what stands out to you. We suggest when you're first starting, before you can build that intuition on what to click on everything. But if you've never heard of the brand name before, click it. That's just a simple rule.
Yeah, ThinkFast is pretty good sized company. If you notice, they weren't actually in the lead on that item. That's the Snoogle item here. So that's another example of a obviously huge company, ThinkFast, and they're 3106, so they're not super aggressive. They're not sitting there beating the price out of every single product. So, and just because they have a ton of feedback doesn't mean that they're extremely aggressive. It just means that they sell a lot of products. So don't you know? I think a lot of people are getting overly concerned with that particular aspect of how do you avoid aggressive repricers. The you know, the honest truth is you try to avoid the ones you know, and you're going to get caught up with some of them, and it's just going to happen. You don't. The point is you don't lose. Generally, you're not going to lose a ton of money in the process. Like you're going to make money on a bunch of it, and then you're just not going to carry the item anymore. And then you know, that's one of the things that I always go back to and look at those items. If I've carried that item in the past, then it looks like this is probably a Snoogle product, and they're tricking me by changing their name to Leechco. But I'll put it on here just in case because it said Snoogle not included. But yeah, I mean that's one of the things is you can't you know, you can't sit there and live in fear of making a mistake. If you make a mistake, you just go on about your business and do better the next time. $4,600. It's a pretty high baby rank. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is made by the same company as the Snoogle, even though I'd never heard of Snoogle before clicking on this item. Where are they settling? Is this a shirt?
Oh, it's a band that you wear
What is
around
it?
your stomach at the bottom.
What in the world is that for? It's carried by Amazon, so
Some sort of
good thing I never had to figure it out. But yeah, not even a clue what that is for. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff when I've been doing this, like the belly bump sound system. I accidentally clicked the wrong eye. Belly buds. I mean, who knows? I wonder if you can actually hear anything. I mean, I guess that's the trick, right?
So your child can listen to music.
Are you kidding me? I thought it was to listen to your child.
No, oh,
Wow.
that's one of the two.
Cocoa butter. I know what that one's for. That one's for the stretch marks. Kelly said the belly band thing is to help support the baby. I guess your belly gets really heavy. Carried by Amazon. Hey, it's ThinkFast. Now this is an item where if I were, let's say I were starting to carry this item, this is an item I would look to multi-pack right here. Patrick asked, how do you go on explaining to a company that I'm not going to carry their products anymore? I just never order from them again. And at some point, I called them back if their item gets good again. It's like, hey, I haven't ordered in forever. So fantastic to talk to you again. Just like I never missed a beat. That could have been 4 months ago. But yeah, just don't order. I'm not a conflict guy, so I try not to be the bearer of bad news. But yeah, I would definitely put this item down. And like I said, this is an item where if I did start carrying it, like for some reason, let's say it was profitable $8, which I highly doubt. But I would still put it on the list just to check out. It might be $3 from wholesale or $2 or something like that. But this is where I would look to create more margin by utilizing a multi-pack if the multi-pack had a reasonable sales rank, which it did, 10K. It seems perfectly fine in health and personal care. Deb, what do you mean? What is my next step? I will. You mean after I make a giant list of awesome products? Okay. All right. I'll wrap this one up, and then we'll jump into the next step, and then we'll just do solid QA. So I'll finish this little round out, and then we'll jump into what we would do next.
I was going to get one little price off the.
And then Eric's going to jump on and give you guys how he uses Price Zombie and a couple examples of that. One example of that.
Examples ready if they want.
If you guys have an example you would like to see him go over, just post it in here. Just post the ASIN up. All right. So that gets us back to the nose Frida. So anyway, after I get a giant list of awesome products, the next thing I'm going to do is go through and put in the company website just so I can figure it out. And I'm actually going to search for these off on the second screen because it'll be about 10 times faster. Well, actually, you guys wanted to see this, so. Yeah, I enjoy the leaf sourcing part. Matt enjoys I guess at this point he kind of has to enjoy the researching the company's part. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is search for the company here, Decor or whatever. And it was a diaperish product, so it's probably the same company.
Yeah, that was it.
Killnose.eu. All right. Okay, so when this happens, and I don't know what I want to like, first off, I'm going to go back and find the item to see what exactly I'm looking for. But if you're operating on two screens, it's all it's always going to be on your other screen. This is what's much harder for me to operate on one screen. I'm just not used to it. Natural bamboo diaper panel deodorizer. So EcoNo diaper. I think this was one where we thought it might have been potentially a private label product. Oh yeah, because it had the two offers, the merchant fulfilled offer and the normal offer, and it just had one seller. So if I don't find anything, I'm actually pretty content just letting that one go, and not, like I said, I was about chaining pads. Jeez, oh Pete. But I was pretty convinced that one was a private label product in the first place. But this was Select. So I'm going to find like 4 or 5 of these if my website. Can you still hear me? Or am I online? I think his website's dying on me. Strange. All right. Looks like North Shore Supply might make that one. Let's go back to this item particularly and see if it's a North Shore private label. All right. And I would cut that off. So once I find 4, like I said, once I get 4 or 5 down, I'll show you how I would analyze the product next. Diaper stuff. Yep, that's probably the same hubby. Yep. Eddie said, "Did I give up on EcoNo?" Yes, that was an item when I first put it on the list. I had mentioned thinking it was probably a private label product because it had the merchant fulfilled offer was the same person as the FBA offer, which is typical for a listing you create. So, and then when I went to search for the product, there was no website listed. So I think I was right in my initial assumption that it was probably a private label product. I was reasonably convinced when I was putting it on there. Anyway, POPO. This is an awesome company name. Gosh, this computer is so slow. Nope, it looks like I skipped right past Mr. Naturepedic, which actually I'm pretty sure that Naturepedic was one of the ones that I really actually liked off this list. It was the one where the guy was at $65. Honest Company is Jessica Alba's company. I did not know that. I know I like Jessica Alba though. So. But yeah, this one was one where they had it was $69, and there was the one guy down at $65. So did I just really copy the same thing? Nope. His computer just lagged on me. Oh gosh. Copied the old Lason though. Oh, I said, Jimmy Bueno said, what is wrong with Jessica Alba? There is absolutely nothing in the world wrong with Jessica Alba. I love Jessica Alba. So, nothing at all.
Well, except they're acting. So,
Dylan says she's not a very good actor. But I'm convinced that he wouldn't know good acting if he saw it. Okay, so that's pretty much what I do in terms of, I'll go through and find out what the company's website is, and then we'll go do the whenever we're like on California Baby, since I had that one up. Whenever we're going to contact them. Oh, they have the convenient wholesale button. Yay! All right. All right, so what I'm filling in, and so I see something like this, like we put our legal business name, our store name, which is different than our legal business name, and I've never had a problem with that. Most people understand DBAs and things like that at this point, so it's not a big deal. We put in our company's phone number. We actually have a fax machine. There was one company that required us to get a fax machine. Apparently, it's required here. I had no idea. I didn't know people still operated with fax machines until we got a fax machine for one company. We've used it one time ever. Email address, we use our domain email address. So it's we vendor at our website address. We put our company website. This is with us, we put our warehouse address. If you use a print, pack, and ship company, I would put their address right here and would have no problems whatsoever doing it. With our business, and right here where it says business address, that's what I would put is, if you're operating out of your house, I would put just my business name and its address. I don't think that would ever be a problem. I can't imagine it being a problem. You might have to explain it at some point, like, "Hey, buddy, why is your business address and shipping address different?" Well, this is where our corporate headquarters are, and that's my distribution network. So, type of business, brick and mortar or website. We would list our website right here. Generally, when I see something like this, I'm more likely to put within the USA, and that's mostly because some companies have restrictions on selling their product overseas, and I'm not saying anything to .uk. I know Amazon ships some orders overseas, but I don't know enough about even where they sell their products to actually care to list not outside the USA. Name of the person authorized to place orders. I generally put me, Eric, and Matt. Matt's one of the guys that generally is the guy placing reorders, and I don't want him to have to come to me and be like, "Hey, buddy, can you authorize this reorder?" Matt knows internally that if it's a more than 30-day order, like he's doing it to get a discount, that he has to come to me or Eric and get us to authorize it. But for standard 30-day orders, we don't even care about seeing them. So, but if you're going to have other people placing your orders, make sure to put them on the list just so you don't have to do it later. It's just, it's just arbitrarily annoying. How do we learn about California baby products? I filled out all kinds of stuff here. I mean, Google search, and that'd probably be what I put there. But I've probably put every single one of them over the course of time. I don't know if any one of them actually matters. I don't even think they care. Other baby lines carried. This is a similar, basically what we put in our email. It's like if I carry enough baby lines, like I would put, I carry these similar lines and they do well for us. Blah blah blah. It's one of our templates that we put in the group. So. If you carry other baby lines, be sure to list them. I think that makes them significantly more likely to sell it to you if you're already carrying those lines. So, and if you don't, then don't just put just put whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, put nothing, and put whatever. Yep, I would certify it and be off to the races. This one's actually almost too easy because it's they got all the fields that you want to hit kind of in your email. But whenever you're writing that email. Whenever you're writing that email, just you kind of want to touch on. I would almost use this as a template to try to, if you didn't want like our emails that we put up there, because it kind of touches on all the information that you want to have in your email anyway. Diane says the companies raise their prices often. They'll let you know in advance for replenishables. That varies by company. Sometimes it will just give you the old shocker. Hey, buddy, here's your new price list. And then you'll notice that it's hard to sell it for about a month because you got to let everybody else kind of run through their inventory. But most of them do. Most of them contact us and be like, hey, we've got to raise our prices in 2 months. Would you like to place some really big orders before you have to, before you hit the new price levels? And, we were fortunate enough that one of our really awesome products, they did have to do a price raise. And they were raising their MAP too, which was fine. But, we placed like a $20,000-ish order with them, and it's a cheap product, so we had a lot of product going into the price raise. And then, there were still the guys that hadn't raised past the old MAP, and by the time what happens is eventually they run out of product and they can't reorder profitably, so they will raise their prices. So if you ever run into that, just keep in mind that you got to kind of just wait it out. Like people will run out of their product if the company's being legitimate and they're raising their prices across the board. Then the new price will govern everybody's restock value, not just yours. So, but that's where being able to go a little deeper definitely helps. Is you can get through that without missing a beat really. So if you have the opportunity and they tell you that they're going to raise your prices, and it's a good idea to order a little heavier there. But so that in terms of how I would fill it out, that's exactly what that's exactly how we fill ours out. And the point I think is, I want I always want them to contact me. Like if I fill this out and don't hear from them, I'm going to look at in about 2 weeks. I'm going to look and say, it's on our pre-contact spreadsheet. I'll know that I contacted them on this date and I haven't heard anything back, yes or no. Then I'm going to call them. And I like to use an alternative measure for the second time I contact them, because I think it's significantly more likely to work. Obviously, the first way it didn't work. So be looking at that. If somebody doesn't contact you back, it's not a bad thing always. Do we create a pre-con? No, we have for our internal use, we have a pre-contact spreadsheet that we use. So it's just, you know, like we started a new one today because we had, I mean, I'm pretty sure we had like 400 or 500 lines under every category. And it was starting to get a bit confusing. So we kind of we transitioned to a new one today. Just mostly because we're wanting to start tracking. The thing we're starting to track now is our success rate within a given category. We're wanting to see if accounts are easier to get in baby, or if they're easier to get in home and kitchen, if they're easier to get in, you know, whatever category it is. So originally we were, you know, kind of grouping them more together. How do you manage your pre-contact list? We just like, I mean, it's, you know, our pre-contact list looks just like this. So we put the date we contacted them, and then the contact method, and then usually we actually have another column. Geez, oh Pete. Our other column is we do have the notes column on ours too, but we also have accepted, denied, and if we get denied, we go back and put denied. That way we know that at least they've answered us back. Then, you know, that's kind of how we keep track of it. I'm starting to get behind in the questions. It's just a taste. And then how do you organize them for follow-up processes? You can, you know, we had that extra column, accepted, denied. You can sort that, and if there's no response, you can sort that to the top, and then you can recontact and do however you need to. So that's one way we do it. How do we pay? I'm not sure. You know, one of our how do we pay if you run into the credit limit on your credit card? Whenever we first got our new Visa, we ran into that a couple of times because we had a really tiny credit limit. Like I think the credit limit was like $10,000, and you know, that for our regular orders are 4,500 probably at this point. They started out much smaller, but so we used to hit that pretty often. So what we did is I suggest looking into an Amex Plum. Plum doesn't necessarily have a limit, but what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to you know, make sure you don't get behind. I mean, it's just like any other thing. You don't get to the point you can't actually afford to pay it. The problem we had with ours is it holds pending transactions, and we couldn't pay it off. So it's like we had the money to pay it off. We just couldn't. We can't pay it off fast enough. So we had to start. We would have to go back to our Plum, and then, you know, we contact them and it's like, seriously, guys, we pay this thing off every 3 days or 4 days or whatever. Can you raise our credit limit? And they were nice enough to do that. So once you start establishing a good payment history there, ask for a credit increase, and you'll be able to get that. You should be able to get that jumped up pretty good. Lauren asked, "Are we going to show you the deep research on each product, looking at the sales per month?" Yeah, that's where I was jumping to next. Like I said, I wanted to go through one. I wanted to go through, you know, putting a few names to show you, kind of make sure you guys understand how easy it is that we find the manufacturer and things like that. And then I wanted to run through one, kind of how we contact them, and just happened to be California Baby was awesome at this and made it much easier. But, you know, if we're not contacting, like I said, we try to contact as many as we can by phone, but we do send a lot of emails as well, and we use our templates. Lauren said you should have a business credit card as well. Chase Inc. Yeah, I mean, we don't have the Chase Inc. We have Capital One Spark, and we have American Express Plum. The Plum doesn't have a limit, so that one's pretty awesome. No, Dave, we do additional research before we contact the manufacturer in terms of sales per month and things like that. So, like on this particular item, here's we'll go ahead and jump into that. Got to wait on Dylan's slow computer again. All right, so 11 and baby. Doesn't get much better than that. So 6, you know, for those of you, whenever you get into the really, really, really low ranks on Jungle Scout, from our experience, it estimates low. So I would round that up to 16. I would be comfortable even estimating that up to 1,800 sales per month. It's just part of their algorithm. The way somebody explained it to me once that I think it was actually Michael Flanagan looked at their programming code and spoke to Greg pretty in depth about it, the guy who wrote the program. And the way they set their software up is they got a bunch of middling ranks, like in the 30Ks, and then they would get 15,000 ranked items and things like that and try to track sales. So, it is based on an estimate. I do feel like it's a lot stronger and a lot more accurate than the FBA Toolkit used to be. We've tracked it through our sales, and it seems to be really super accurate around, in your particularly in health and personal care, between 15 and 30,000, it seems to be really accurate. But as far as in the really low ranks like this right here, like this is I would estimate that to probably be extremely low. And like Abby said, it may have been 12 when we started. So ranks do change. But what you're going to notice is when you get down in the really low, like 2,000 to 1,000 stuff like that, then you're not going to see like a 1,000 item become 17,000 overnight. It just doesn't happen. If it does, it's something wrong. But whenever if you're looking at a 40,000 ranked item, you may look at it the next day and it's 60,000. It's because it doesn't have a high enough volume of sales to hold. So. Good for you, Eric. Now, shoes. Let me explain that too before I jump into this much further. With what you're going to run into with one second. Sorry about that. Anyway, what you're going to run into whenever you have PC listings is the way PC listings are generally calculated is it's a total sales volume. So one of your items may be much, much better sales ranked in theory than the other items, but it carries that sales rank and the other ones weigh it down, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that makes sense. PC is parent-child. So where there's multiple variations of a product, you'll see it in health and shoes and clothing a lot, where you'll click on one variation of it. You'll click on the next variation, has the same sales rank. Well, that's not necessarily true. You have to be able to identify which of those is actually selling. So, like I said, you get into variations and things like that, and it gets a bit more tricky on trying to figure out which ones are the ones that's selling. So that could have been the thing, Eric, is that size particularly may have been a really, really high ranked item, but the other sizes may have been much slower. But good for you. Ultimately, that's fantastic news. I'm glad they sold for you. So anyway, back to this. So with this item, we expect 1,800 sales per month, roughly. And the way I'm going to figure it out is just like I did in the videos. So there are within 2%. And I expect a portion. I'm basically trying to assume that I get a equal share of these sales. So anything higher than 1,470, I'm just not going to count. So 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I mean this one looks nuts. I assume you just don't make very much money on it, but yeah, this one would by all means would hit my criteria of definitely sells more than 90 times per month. So this one would definitely be one that I would contact. And I would probably put that in the notes that I sell, for Matt. I would probably put that in the notes that 1,800 divided by, 4 sellers? Yeah, 4. And we always include ourselves as another seller. So, so 450 sales per month. Now, the reason I put this in the note is, let's say that they come back with a price list that it's not very competitive. What this is going to tell me early on is that I can justify buying a much bigger order. And coming out of the gates, even I would probably, I would at that point I would maybe even consider ordering one retail just to see how it's packaged and stuff to make sure I'm not going to wreck myself. But let's say they come back and they're like, yeah, we got a price break at 900 units, and the price break makes that item really profitable. That's an item that I'm going to maybe go a bit deeper on. So anytime you get you're well over that range, I generally put it in my notes just so I can remember that, hey, this is an item I can aggressively ask for discounts on because I know I can sell quite a bit of them. So with the Honest Company. Now, also with this one, the another thing we're going to do here, I don't want to jump too far ahead, is we're going to look at the Price Zombie research and see if Amazon's carried this item. I usually don't do this part. But Jill says, is my first order going to be a 30-day supply? That always depends for us. I mean, ideally, we tend to place smaller orders, but if like on an item like that where we're going to have we have a big opportunity to sell a lot of units, like I'm willing to go deeper. So I'm willing to go 30 to 60 days on that one if it will get me a discount. But ideally, we do our initial order is going to be less than a 30-day supply, and then we're going to reevaluate that and make sure it works for us, and then we'll start jumping into 30-day orders. Which we had a really weird call from a company today because it was a really good item, and we bought a smaller order for our first order, and we placed our order or whatever, and everything was fine. We placed our order today. And we jumped it up to a 30-day order, and they were like, "Whoa, buddy, what's going on here? Where are you planning on selling this product?" And they actually got kind of crazy with us, and it was because our order was so much bigger. And then we explained it to them, like, "Hey, man, we like to test out a product, make sure our customers respond to it. It's not, and then if it's something our customers like and it does well for us, then we're going to want to order a 30-day supply, so we don't have to call you every 5 days to get a reorder." And he was like, "Well, you do know that we aggressively pursue map, make sure people follow our map." And it's like, "Yeah, man, I'm not trying to break your map. I promise you. I'm just placing a 30-day order," and it was perfectly fine. I mean, so you may run into that going with our strategy of small orders up front, and sometimes it's not possible. If I'm just going to lose money on this diaper decor item by ordering a 10-day supply or something like that just to test it out, then but I can make quite a bit of money at the bigger order. I jump my order up. So you got to be flexible with your first order. I think as flexible. I think it's more as flexible as your budget allows. Do we buy even numbers? I tend to buy, awkwardly enough, I tend to buy 30 to 60 to 90 units on opening orders. And that's just because our labels print in 30 sheets. So that's the magic behind our initial numbers. So, I mean, there's really no magic there. I just order whatever feels right. If I'm ordering, I'm not going to order 30 units of something that sells I expect 450 sales a month. That's going to be an item I would order 90 of or 120 of or something like that to just get a taste for it. And then if it worked out from there, then I'd be willing to go through and do it again and much bigger. So, yep, no magic. Just I actually place orders to fit my label sheets. But let's go to the Honest Company here. Jesus. Oh, good to know that thing's still broken. That thing, I used to love that tool too. It just drives me crazy that it doesn't work for me.
Sometimes it works on the second try. It's weird.
So this one is 1,200 sales per month. We got the two guys at $31. I assume they're probably back ordered or something. I have no idea how this guy's not got the box. But anyway, I would go from the box and probably see where I'm at. So it looks like at most I'm competing against because 2% of 32 is 64 cents. So at most I'm competing against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'd be 7th offer. Yep. Yep, perfect. So I would definitely take a closer look here, and this would be an item where I'm obviously contacting them to make sure that to see where my pricing falls. Looks like no Amazon competition. That's beautiful. Did not know that about the Honest Company, that it's Jessica Alba's company. So, I mean, that's basically the type of research that we're doing before we contact the company. Like, I just don't want to, I want to make sure that it kind of fits where I want to be in terms of how many I sell. That's and if it's close, like if I'm expecting to sell 70 units or something like that per month, I'm probably going to contact them anyway, because that's still a reasonable volume. And at that point, I'm just hoping that I get a bigger return on my investment, or a bigger margin on that product to kind of help with not selling as many as I want to. So, and then Price Zombie, like I'm honestly just. Kathy asked, why do we not use Keepa instead of Price Zombie? Eric's got me. I used to use Camel a lot, but Eric got me using Price Zombie more. And Matt, but mostly whenever I'm sourcing products, I get as far as what's on the screen, and then Matt goes over and does all the actual heavy lifting for us. So, but I obviously had to do it before we hired Matt. It's just it's whenever you're doing it yourself, it's you do every part of the process. But I've been a bit spoiled not having to do the heavy lifting for a few months now. But as far as why we use Price Zombie, Eric will explain it. He's going to go over you with an example.
We'll do that tomorrow because we've already went so far over time.
Dylan actually said we're way over on time, so. So he'll do it tomorrow on the Spreecast tomorrow before Dylan starts. Is that when?
Yeah, tomorrow 7:30.
Okay, yeah. So tomorrow's Spreecast at 7:30. Eric will go over it then on how exactly he uses Price Zombie, and why he likes Price Zombie versus Keepa or Camel. But the fast reason is because it actually gives you a more accurate. For us, it seems to give us a more accurate description of when Amazon was in stock. So I'm going to do one more of these, and then I'll take a few more questions. And I didn't realize we were this far over either. So either way, I get really into sourcing, so I love it. So estimated sales of 200 per month. With this one, I think it's a bit. I don't know how these guys are going to react. I think at most you're going to be looking at splitting it with like 2 people, because they would have probably came down and taken the box. But yeah, I mean, I would be willing to give it a try and find out what's going on here to see if it's a good product. So on this one, I think you're probably averaging between 50 and 70 sales per month. But this is an example of where I'm willing to bend my rules, partially because I don't know what's going to happen, and it depends. A lot of it depends on where the pricing falls for me. Let's assume that this is, if this is a $20 item, if this list price is anywhere remotely correct, and they give us the standard is 50%. So at $10, I can get in there at $24.99 or and expect to sell quite a bit of units. Joe Getty says, where would I price this at? I would probably tend to go in around $29.99 to see if I took the box, and if I didn't take it, I would be incrementally dropping until I took the box, and we would kind of have to see what diapers.com did from there. But if you look where it's such a heavy item, diapers.com. He's going to have to drop, like he's going to get down there really cheap before he, with his shipping, before it really affects me too much. Kathy said, why would you make the decision not to go with Ubi, even though that specific product doesn't work? No, I said I would go with Ubi. I would contact them. I think this product could very well easily work. Like I said, if this list price is correct of $19.98, this product could be bonkers. Like, a standard $10 into being able to price it at $29.99 and having to, obviously I have to go down from there. But with this, realistically, if nobody was willing to come down and fight me, I could easily get I could easily take the box at $27.99 and keep the box. But yeah, I mean, so at that point, and like I said, the 4,000 rank, it's the product. This is a category we don't source very often. 200 sales per month. Like, I would probably do a little research here and see how long this product's been around too. But it looks like, I mean, honestly, this may be this one may be just on awesome because, like I said, $19.99, this thing is fantastic. So Sandy says, not many reviews. Like I said, I don't pay, I want some reviews, but overall, that's not what's going to drive my decisions. Is negative reviews, positive reviews, quantity of reviews. Oh, cool. Amazon. So they have Amazon exclusive sellers. That would probably, that still wouldn't slow me down from contacting them. I would contact them and see if, with as few sellers as on that product, I would see if I could what it would take for me to become an Amazon exclusive seller on that list. So, I like the product. I don't know why it's so expensive or what the real price is. But anyway, we can, if you guys want to, we can take some. I'll go ahead and answer whatever questions you have. I didn't see it. Kelly said she saw it on the Ubi website. So, does it say who they are? That'd be interesting. Yeah, I have no idea. Scroll up. Yeah, I don't see anything about being. I mean, I believe you, it's here. I don't see it. Go to become a retailer. Oh, exclusive pre-approved channel partner. Oh, I mean, I would try. That's perfectly fine with me. So I would definitely go. This is a perfect. This is a perfect example of where I would try to become an exclusive partner with them. Where they said, I would just try to figure out what it would take to become one of those. And if it's an exclusive, they're kind of not following their own rules. And there may be several exclusives. So the products that only have 3 or 4 relevant sellers, how do you know that by the time you get the product to Amazon, more sellers might become relevant? They might as well, they might very well do it. But like I said, I don't make whenever we're buying products and finding products, I don't make decisions on fear. So I'm not. If the product looks fine, I'm placing the order. If I may, if the product works out, that's fantastic. If it doesn't, I'll find a better one. So, I can't judge how many will become relevant. It's, I don't try to. I'm not one of the people that track products over the course of 2 months before I make a decision. I want to make as many decisions and hope to be right the majority of the time, which we have been. So, and that's what it's not a crapshoot. Like, it's definitely not a crapshoot. I mean, once you're making these decisions, and if you're making them based on sound judgment, you're looking at your products, you understand your criteria. With the criteria given, you're not going to it's certainly not a crapshoot. You just do the best you can, but you definitely can't make you definitely can't make decisions based on fear. If you do that, I mean, you might as well go work go work for somebody where there's no risk. I mean, it's, at the end of the day, it's about risk management. Somebody says, are you going to use pay-per-clicks to drive traffic? Not necessarily. I won't unless I promise them I will. I mean, I'm not gonna arbitrarily I'm not gonna arbitrarily increase my budget on an item. And the way pay-per-click works, if I don't have the box, like particularly sponsored ads, if I don't have the box, my sponsored ads aren't running. So I don't necessarily feel like increasing the sales rank for everybody else. If they want to make me exclusive, or on one of our items we do run that, but everybody runs it, so it's constantly getting pay-per-click ads. So yeah, we will, but it's very rare. I'm not gonna, it's not something I invest in or I set out to do. I'm not. I just try to make the best. I try to make the best decision I can, and I trust that decision in terms of the product working. I don't know if that makes perfect sense, but so what other questions do we have? We reevaluate our items every time we go to place reorders. We have whenever we create an item, we price the item. Whenever the item gets created, it's priced at some arbitrarily high price, say $499.99, and we go in before our product ships. Like today, I went in and I changed all of our $499 price into the real price and set our repricers. So our products will constantly sell. We set our repricers to go about 5% above cost. Hopefully they never get there. If they get there, then it's probably an item I'm never going to carry again. So I generally I set to match. And if the product gets down to my bottom, then I'm just not going to restock it. And it gets added to the list of junk that I look at, once every 2 or 3 months to see if it became good again arbitrarily. So yeah, I hope that's exactly what it is. It's a batch of has-beens. That's a batch of products that got through. But like I said, I mean, even on those, you're generally going to make money, just not enough to care, and that's what it's about. Is or you're not going to lose a lot when you factor in all your costs. You're generally not going to lose very much. And if you do take a loss, that's just part of business. I mean, you're gonna pick some losers every time you pick a winner. But you got to understand that your winners are going to generally win by a pretty good margin. Your losers are going to lose by very little. So it's not really even if you bet 50%, you're generally going to make money. Yeah, I mean that's the standard is. You will get some products that do not win, but if you do your due diligence, you look at the product, you follow. Like I said, the guidelines are there for a reason. We follow them for the most part, and like I explained, on the Ubi item, is that item wouldn't necessarily hit my radar as definitely hitting our guidelines, but the potential margin there was really big. So that's going to affect my decision. So we're willing to operate outside of our guidelines just to taste, but it's not by a lot. I mean, it's not like I'm not buying items that have 120,000 sales rank because I'm getting 180% ROI. It's just that I'm not operating in that manner. I tend to operate with within those guidelines or very, very close to them. So I can take. I guess we can take 2 or 3 more questions and then we can hop off here. But so what else do we got? I think I've been answering everybody's questions as I went along, which led me going slower and doing things like arbitrarily deleting tabs and kind of forgetting where I'm at times. Kathy says, how do you know the profit is there? I have no clue. That's the point is if I contact them and the profit's not there, I don't, I've seen people in the posting in the forums, and they're like, well, I contacted the manufacturer and there's no profit in it. What do you do? It's like, contact 10 more. As at the end of the day, I don't know if a product's if you figure out a way to look at a product and know if it's profitable, please, by all means, I will buy it. I will mortgage everything I own to buy that product from you. So, yeah, there's no possible way you can know that. I mean, and you know, you can't get to. That's the point, is you can't get discouraged if you. I guess I can switch out of the screen share here, but I thought I've been looking at this blank screen the entire time and just talking to a blank screen, so this is really awkward. But yeah, I mean, that's the point, is you can't. You know, you don't know these things, and it's not going to be something where I'm discouraged whenever it's not profitable. We have a huge file of potential of people we've been accepted by that their products weren't profitable, and we just go back and check them from time to time. And if they turn into profitable, then fantastic. If not, they stay in that crappy file. So what else we got? One more question. All right, one more. Going once. Going twice. All right, last one. Do you have a fast way to revisit those has-beens? No, I have a folder actually called Crappy Price Products in my email, and that's where those lists reside. And like I said, with Matt, it's more of a, whenever we're not doing so, you know, whenever he's exhausted a list or we're getting ready to start a new project or something, he'll revisit those, and I'll revisit them and see if some of those items have gotten good. And if they've not, it stays in the Crappy Price Products folder. And, you know, that's where it goes to die. We've already been accepted to those accounts. But that's the point, is we've actually pulled several products out of the Crappy Price Products folder. So just revisit those. They can definitely get good again once somebody sells out and decides, you know, that they've had enough and don't want to restock it because they didn't make any money. You can definitely turn, you know, find some of those products. But I think that's got it. And I apologize for going over so much. Like I said, I enjoy doing it, and I probably should have held more questions until the end and kind of hammered those out at one time. But I like to explain it when I'm going along so people aren't lost and then kind of have to wait. So I apologize if I did it wrong. But it's been fantastic, and like I said, I truly enjoy it. I've never thought about that, Eric. Jeez, Pete. That's probably the best idea I've seen all day. And in terms of setting price alerts when products go up, I'll talk to Matt about that tomorrow. That's a great idea. Everybody should. I'll reread that idea because it was a fantastic one. For Crappy Price Products folder, Eric's suggesting that you might want to go set up some kind of alert to alert you when products go up in price. And that way you're not missing an opportunity. So that is a fantastic idea. That's probably one we're going to start using tomorrow. Thank you very much, Eric. That was fantastic, buddy. But anyway, have a great night, everybody. I appreciate it.